It's the Golden Reach Show. That's Jess.
And that's Sasha.
And we are live on Adobe Radio on a Monday, the Monday after 420. We survived.
We made it. We made it another year.
Yeah, another year in legal weed in 420. What a good time. We you can find some of our shenanigans on social media. We did our best to post. How was your 420 up until we hung out, which was after you worked?
Well, I got up really early, and I started making people smile at 8 a.m. People were coming in. They were super stoked. It was a cool vibe.
Yeah, it was pretty chill. Yeah, I came in around close to 11-ish in the morning. And it was busy, but it wasn't line out the door at that moment.
No, we had the early line for the gift bags.
Yeah.
But you still made it. You still got a bag. And
I did, because I bought hyphy.
You did.
Cherry. Now, this is explicit. Hold on. If the kids are at the computer, close their eyes. So I got the cherry poppers with this.
Ooh.
With this.
That's spicy.
Spicy meatball.
Spicy content.
Yeah, it's the cherry poppers. Yeah, Super Dope does that. They have sexy ladies on their and they're in a package so that.
Yeah, it's back in my day. When the Playboy magazine came in a paper wrapper. Yeah,
but they're and they come with really hot stickers too. They're sexy ladies. But so I don't mind. No skin off my back. And the weed is really good. I was excited to see cherry poppers, so I wanted it, so I got it. And you had Lost Farms, which I haven't been able to find anywhere in a while, and I ate a lot of those before the show, so I'm a little high right now.
The new ones, the solventless.
Yeah, they're good. Yeah. They're yummy. They hit a little bit quicker. Don't last as long, but they hit quicker for me, and they're delicious. Yum. So you had a good chill 420 vibe. I didn't get any tacos. Or ice cream, but that's okay. Because I came there early. I didn't come for the tacos.
I was out before the tacos came, but I got some elote.
Nice.
And I don't know. You know what? People brought us food all day. Every single. There was snacks. There was bagels in the morning. Yeah. And coffee and everything. We were set up to win on 420, and I think it was a success.
I believe it was. So. You finish your 420, you come over, we hop in a Lyft. There's no rest for the wicked.
None.
I was chilling. I didn't do anything. And we went and we met Fish because 420 fell on a Thursday, which is Gone Fishkin night.
Yeah.
And so he put on a little live broadcast from above the rocks at the Roxy.
Yeah, on the rocks.
On the rocks, above and on and in.
All of the
and
above.
Over. And yeah, that was really, really cool. So we got there, pretty much right after you got done with work. And we got there with, we were armed with lots of good weed. Wait, we should. We had a lot of weed. So we came with, we smoked on the way. We smoked a raw garden.
Yeah, there was
joint.
One of the infused really raw garden diamond joints. Kind of harsh.
I wasn't down. So I was like, that's not a good way to start 420. But it was okay. I knew we were going to make up for it. You had rolled a very large joint, one of those obscene raw.
Yeah, it was the Emperor.
Yeah.
There's the king cones and then the Emperor.
How many grams is it?
So there was about 3. I used a whole eighth of Lowell Biscotti. There was a 1G Moonrock and then a little bit of filler for some other stuff. So I'm going to say that there was probably 4.5 to 5 5 Gs.
So yeah, we got there. We went live with Fish. He had the homies from Dose on and Medford, who was very gracious, and really we will get to why he saved our day for sure. Yeah, we hung out, we like chopped it up, and we just started smoking immediately. So we broke out we were like, why not just start with the giant joint, which is what we did.
Medford was like, it's 420. Why
like,
are we
just
not
talking?
smoking?
What are
why are we just
doing?
talking here?
And I wholeheartedly agreed.
For sure.
With that sentiment. So we got to it. So we smoked.
We fired it up. The first
giant one, passed it around, did what we were supposed to do, and then just furiously grinded and rolled joints for 2 hours straight.
Fish is like, I got I've got some Khalifa Kush.
Yeah,
Khalifa Mint.
so yeah, we'll go over the inventory of what we smoked. Fish was all the way at the other end of us. So by the time like the weed would get to him, like it would come back, it would be all like, we were all smoking it, and like I would just keep seeing everybody get like progressively higher and higher, but like I didn't know what he was up to down there, and he didn't know what we were up to down over at our end. We just knew that weed was coming and going as it should. So
this is true. I would suggest a round table next.
No, it was amazing.
It was
fine. It was great.
We didn't know what was happening, but it was good. It was a good time. Yeah. Where did we furiously grinding weed?
Yes. So say what we smoked.
Okay. So we got that big one down. And then we had some the Khalifa mints, and we rolled a couple of those up.
Yeah.
That was
Fish
quite
really
delicious.
Came through. He brought like a lot of really good weed.
And then Fish brought a pair. It was a pairing. He brought a blunt.
Well, yeah, we really wanted to smoke a blunt on 420. We had mentioned it earlier in our group text.
There was like
and
at least
I had been
one.
really craving a group blunt as well. I mean, a group blunt. Yeah, a group blunt. Or by myself group blunt. So he came through with the banana backwoods, because we didn't, you can't really find backwoods, flavored backwoods around these parts these days. But Fish came through.
He did. And it was specifically paired with the Phases high frequency.
Yes, which paired beautifully. And you rolled that blunt. So that was like, that took up, a solid 40 minutes.
Crafted. Handcrafted that blunt.
It was a great blunt. In the meantime, I think we might have been just passing around like
the Khalifa. And there was some Mike Tyson in there.
We did get that in there. The Toad.
We had some edibles too. I passed down some edibles.
You did? Oh yeah. Was it just the...
Can't remember.
I think it was those other ones. I forgot what they were called. The ones.
Yeah. The new ones.
We didn't take a lot of edibles, surprisingly. I didn't on 420. So we got that blunt in there. And then, we just kept on smoking. And then we smoked a lot of like Gelinade. Was it Gelinade?
Oh, I forgot about the Gelinade.
We smoked like two joints of that, at least.
Of the Gelinade. That one even didn't. We forgot that on the list. But the Gelinade. There was some Jeters in there.
Oh, that's right. It wouldn't be a night with Fish if we didn't have Jeters.
At least one.
He always has a Jeter in the chamber, which I appreciate. I do.
In an emergency.
We talk that shit, but like I love a good Jeter to top off the night.
They are effective.
And we did. It was
great. It's a good nightcap.
We all got really, really high, and it was really fun. And I had a really, really great time. It was probably, and we said it during too. I don't know if the show's posted. I don't know if Fish is posting the show, because it was like we were just all talking at once, I think, at one point. But it wasn't in a bad way. It was just in like, I mean, we were pretty high. Like we were
for real.
But it was all like love. And I think at one point we did say it was like our favorite 420.
It was a good one
that we've had.
It's one for the books.
I loved it. I had a great time on that day. I mean, because I didn't have to work or anything. So I just enjoyed my time. I spent the night with homies. Then we had a great show. We had so much fun with Fish and all the things. And then the show's over, and TS and I, like, we were like, because last year I don't know what was going on last year and why we just dipped, but we didn't get any food last year. And like, that's not like TS and I. Like,
no, not at all.
It's very important to us to know where our food, where we're going to get food at the end of the night. That's like a very important thing that we need whenever we go out, no matter what we're doing.
It's part of the ritual.
It's our love language. And we didn't on 420 last year. We just came straight home because I remember I ordered like California chicken salad cafe, whatever. Because I was like, oh, they deliver late. I was so hungry because it was 420 and we must have smoked a lot, but we didn't get food. So this year I was like, we will not make that mistake. So we had a great show. We smoked like, an ounce of weed. So much fun. Our appetites were wet. We wanted to eat. And I don't know, what did we do? Everybody had left and we were...
Medford got us some pizza.
Oh yeah, that's right. Rewind. Medford had gotten us pizza earlier in the show. Like a smart person. Very, very, very smart. Thinking ahead.
From the Rainbow Room.
Yes. Delicious pizza from next door.
Yeah.
And that arrived. I hadn't had any because I was all jacked doing the radio show, smoking the weed. You did go right in.
I went right in and then I immediately regretted it because it was so delicious and greasy and good. But I was like, oh my God, I'm getting pizza grease all over the mic.
Very overwhelmed. Well, and also because we were live. And we're live. And Fish had just asked you a question too. And you were like, and you like dropped the pizza and it like made a slapping sound on the cardboard.
I put down my slice. I got, oh my God, I gotta pay attention now.
Yeah.
We're live.
Yeah, it was live radio. We were live on the radio just like we are right now. And yeah, so that pizza, it smelled really good. And then we were like, okay, where are we going to go eat? So we thought about it. We were like looking up lifts and we were like kind of like thinking of what to do. I don't know how long we pontificated until I think it was you. You're like, do you want to just like eat pizza at the bus stop? And I was like, yeah. I was like, I actually do. And
the bus stop across the street from the Roxy is in pristine,
excellent shape
condition.
Yeah, excellent shape. It was a clean night on the boulevard. It wasn't gross. Everybody was in a good mood. So we did a sweep of what was everywhere. Also, we just wanted to see how much pizza was left, and there was like 4 slices left.
There was a good amount of pizza,
and we were like alone. There was nobody left.
We were left unsupervised.
So we took
on
the
pizza,
rocks, and I really appreciate that. Really came in clutch. So I appreciate very much that pizza. And we went across the way and ate the pizza, and that was really good. And it was also like we didn't have to, get in a stupid lift and go stupid places. It was perfect. It was the perfect end to a perfect 420.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
Indeed.
It was fun. It was a really good time. We got like a surprise appearance from Eddie.
That was, yeah. We came up, we were going up the stairs, going on the rocks, and who was behind us?
I was like, Eddie.
That's Eddie.
From It's News to Us and our boss. And we were like, that looks like Eddie. And he came and he hung out for like the first 15-ish minutes of Fish's show. And it was just fun. It was just good times. Talked about our first time smoking and whatnot. And, it was just a very pleasant, chill 420 of my California 420s. It was nice.
It was a good one. Anytime you hang with Fish,
it's always a good time. It sure is. Fish is a legend. It's one of the good ones. Absolutely.
You get Fish and the nerds together, there's going to be trouble.
We're so funny. We're the best. Fish, I was saying on my show too, like I was like, Fish and the nerds, they just go back. Like our first broadcast on Adobe Radio was with Fish. Our first broadcast, like in the studios, obviously, Fish. Our first and second, I think, like we had 2 with Fish there. We were on the show.
Fish was supervising us.
Yeah, and like we go back. We run deep, so that's why it was nice. It was nice to like hang out with your peeps on 420, just with your So and such, such legendary people. Stories galore. It is. It's a really good time. I had a great time, and it's pretty legendary. Like, it sounds cool when you're like, I'm going to be broadcasting from the rocks.
Yeah, there's so many. I mean, damn, it's on the Sunset Strip. There's so many shows that have been there.
Yeah, it was really
so
cool.
many people.
So really very much thank you to Fish for having us on. And listen to Gone Fishkin every single Thursday night at 9 p.m. in the Eastern time zones. Please. And Fish is a legend. Like, you probably know Fish. Like, wherever you are in the world, in your home, you probably know Fish, or you know someone who knows Fish, because he's just a legend everywhere that he goes. So listen to Fish all of the time, and thank you, Fish, for having us, and thank you, The Rocks, and check out Dose as well. And it was a good time, and always hang out with Adobe for 420. That's why Adobe is the coolest, like, fucking radio network, is because the nerds are on.
That's right.
And we don't fuck around.
We do not. And Adobe lets us do whatever the fuck we want to do.
And, like, supports us. They support our weirdness.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks, Adobe.
They embrace our weirdness. Like, it's always nice. That's also why Thursday was really nice, because we were with, our Adobe peeps. And it felt like, well, damn, that's nice. Because, like, a lot of, especially, 420 friendly, like, mainstream radio stations that even though they're playing, like, Weed Maps commercials, when I was on the radio, it wasn't like you weren't talking about smoking weed. So,
yeah.
Like, it's just nice to be supported for our loves and interests.
Unconditional
love. Adobe is all love. And we might make some enemies, though, this show. We don't know how you're going to react to what we're going to say next. But it's a little East Coast, West Coast war.
Oh, yeah.
I should play some
gangster rap.
Some gangster rap. Maybe I'll find some. Okay, we will be right back.
Gummies, 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 I got gummies. Do you want some gummies? It's the Cool Nerd Weed Show.
Yes, it is the Cool Nerd Weed Show. That's yes.
And that's Sasha.
And we are live on Adobe Radio. We love you, Adobe. You could find video of us doing this on YouTube. Cool Nerd Weed Show. Just search Cool Nerd Weed Show. We're on Instagram if you want to DM us, and all the other weed platforms. Also, weed social media platforms. They exist, and we're on them.
We are on them while they still exist.
Yes. So okay. So here's some context for why we're talking about this. So we out here in LA, Los Angeles, weed culture was different, as like before it was legal and stuff. And we had local kind of sesh heroes almost, people who, kind of were just around a lot. And that were in the scene and in the culture and kind of did whatever they could to kind of fit into the culture. So that said, this one dude, he ran Hitman Glass out here in LA, which if you're out here in California, Hitman. You've heard of this.
Yeah, Hitman Doug. He put on the Chalice Festival. He
He
had the Hitman Lounge on La Brea for a while.
His glass was just kind of top shelf, fancy pantsy, expensive stuff.
It was really all about the glass.
Yeah. There was some fun stuff. He would have
it was
intricate things.
I feel like it was at a time in LA when the dab culture was really amped up and really getting going,
and rigs and stuff. People were really flexy on their rigs. If you It was very
the motherships.
It was a whole thing.
Hitman Glass was right up there with it.
And Hitman Glass really was. You'd go to the lounge and you'd see the cool glass, and like he was just kind of, around, and you were homies with him. You were, but I guess. What, he like went over to the East Coast or something?
I believe.
Because Hitman, the lounge closed out here.
Yeah, the lounge closed.
Because obviously when everything went legal, like you have to like reevaluate what you're doing.
This was pre Prop 64, adult use in California. So you could do these things.
Right. You could just have like a place,
It was like in the middle of like the Wilshire district. Somehow and have live events, which was cool. We went to some events there.
We did, it was cool. It was rad. People liked it.
But I guess Hitman Dougie's on the East Coast now.
So he went to the East Coast. The East Coast is definitely booming right now. It is for sure an exciting time to, be in weed, to like. In whichever capacity. I'm not quite sure what the cowboy market looks like out on the East Coast. Honestly, I don't know if it's fun. I don't know if the weed is good. I don't know much about it because I'm really very far away from it. I don't even know. I mean, obviously we don't even know what the legal market is, the vibe is.
Yeah, it seems pretty limited right now.
Right. It is limited. There's not a lot. Yeah, it's been so difficult with New York to get things through. But it is certainly like an exciting time. Once things get going in New York, it's like bound to be, really, really, really big, lots of monies.
Hell yeah.
So that said, I understand why, you would go to New York and check it out and stuff. I just think he's trying to get clicks, but it did inspire us to like go on a stoned rant or two, like a crispy rant. He's been on this like tip on Instagram saying that East Coast weed is like better than California weed, and that California just has mids. Like that's all that's on the shelves is mids. And he's like doubling down on this on his Instagram. He has a lot of followers, and people that we know are commenting like on his pictures, on his memes, being like, "Bro, what are you talking about? Stop."
Yeah, I mean, and also at the same time, he is promoting the Best of New York. Festival.
So he's got his own like thing,
which
going.
is cool,
Yeah, whatever. Yeah,
get it going.
Sure, but I'm sure he's trying to get some like attention because festivals are just kind of starting out there, obviously, because it's so brand new. But it had us chatting, and we were looking at all the comments, and of course, like everybody's on it, like, but there's like a lot of people that are like, okay, I'm born and raised New Yorker. I've been out in New York weed, and like then I came out to California, and it's just not true. Like it, and that's not to ever take away the good New York weed, because that exists. I know that it does. I'm aware, but you can't forget. To me, even like the lowest, middiest California weed, and we've had some crappy weed out here, is still gonna be better to me than New York weed. Now, that's not to say, before I rest my case, that's not to say California traps. I have a theory. Well, I mean, it's not a theory. I have this thing where I know that before, when you went to a cowboy shop when it was Prop D, but they just like weren't anything. They were just selling weed, in a storefront. The weed was probably good. Or if you went to like a sesh, the weed was probably even better than the weed you were going to get at a dispensary sometimes. The weed would be good. Nowadays, wherever you go, cowboy weed, illegal weed, traditional market weed is... I don't know where that. I feel like it's the rejects from the grows, or somebody's basement grow, or somebody's illegal grow, where it's just the caliber and quality of cowboy weed is not as good now than it was before.
Yeah, I mean, how can you really trust it?
Right. So if that's what he's basing his opinion off of, the street weed, or even the dispensary weed, the legal weed. And if it's that, I would argue that even like your cheapest, lowest weed here is better than I don't know. It's different. Does something different than East Coast weed. And I'm rooting for the East Coast. I love the East Coast. I am East Coast till I die.
I love the East Coast. I love the East Coast, and I'm hoping that the East Coast will. I know that the East Coast and New York will come through and grow that hyphae eventually.
And they do have small batch farms. This is true. He says this on his Instagram as well.
Well, yeah, everything's going to be smaller batches, and in the beginning, and much better.
Yeah,
the small batches are always better, and that goes back to, if California is producing more boof than it is fire, well, sure, because they're producing like 100 large scale boof factories are here in California, but there's also the fire still exists.
It does. We have it. Proof.
We have it in hand,
and. That's important to know that, I would just, Your Honor, to hold on before you cross your fingers. I just need to point out that, yes, because big cannabis has come to California, and that's how most states are starting out with big companies. Not really New York. It does seem that there's smaller groups, but like you said, that's just for now. Because California has so many factories and shit for, larger scale grows. Yes, nowadays there is more mids than there is fire, but the fire is fucking fire.
Yes,
and there's a lot of fire.
No,
as well.
There's no question that California still has the fire.
Okay, so you may.
There's no question that California still has the fire.
You can say all the things.
But listen. Okay, so what has New York in the East Coast been smoking this entire time? Because I know it wasn't produced locally.
You mean just traditional market weed?
Traditional market. These only markets have only lasted in the last few years. It's really their baby markets in the legal market. So with that being said, you were probably getting packs from California
from here
in the earlier days, and you're probably still getting them from Oklahoma.
Please, Girl Scout cookies. I mean, and Gorilla Glue. There was a Gorilla Glue monsoon in New York, and that came from here.
I believe, for sure.
You can trace when it started really coming from here to New York. But I think just as a consumer, as somebody who's been buying weed in New York for the better part of my life, I noticed a key difference. And it's true. There was nobody growing weed in, there was some people, I guess, that I got weed from had little tiny things going on, but it was very difficult to grow weed in the cities. So
not really super safe.
No, it was really illegal. You would get in really big trouble.
Highly illegal.
So you'd always, I feel like a lot of it came from here anyway. So, I mean, I guess apparently there's master growers out on the East Coast, and there are, because,
for sure. Yeah.
If you're working against all odds, and you're trying to grow weed, you're going to get good at it, So I believe that, I believe that there are master growers more on the East Coast, but I still, and don't even get me started on Massachusetts fucking weed, please. No, I'm not trying to be a dick. Show me good Massachusetts weed. I will not, and I'll eat my fucking hat. I would like to smoke good weed, but every time I go out there, I'm just steadily disappointed.
Yes, if somebody could point us in the right direction to where that fire is in Mass. Now,
in New Jersey, the highest level of legal weed that I've had was from Cookies. That was the highest quality. I wouldn't call it fucking fire. It was fine. But it was better to me than... To me, I know he's not talking about New Jersey because East Coast, New Jersey just... I definitely have never really gotten great weed traditionally or legally in New Jersey. So he must be talking about New York headies or whatever. And I'm sure he went to the East Coast, Hitman Dougie, and hung out with all these old heads and back in my day type shit. And it probably felt cool, and New York's litty. But I just, again, have really difficult time like, okay, like the sour diesel or whatever. East Coast cookies. I remember everybody was like, "Oh, it's East Coast cookies." Oh, no, it's East Coast cookies. Like, okay, what'd you put? Like, okay, what made it East Coast cookies? Tell me.
Like the top strains of New York.
Yeah.
Last year they were Gorilla Glue, Runts, ice cream cake, wedding cake, lemon cherry gelato, Oreos gelato, Gary Payton jealousy, and apple fritters.
Those are all LA strains.
Those are all fucking California strains.
Now, if you're gonna tell me that they know how to grow and pop seeds, then like, sure, no, yes, but to sit out here and in good conscience say conscience. Conscious.
They both sound right to me right now.
The more you say it, the weirder it sounds. I can't. TS, I just can't say it. I cannot. Now, do you think weed traditionally before legally, in the 90s, do you think being somebody who has smoked, because I didn't smoke weed really up until late in Prop D out in California, unless it was whatever I was getting in New York. I smoked traditional market New York weed my whole life. So do you feel that back then still California weed was better?
Like back
in the 90s?
Oh, yeah.
Still, yeah. So there was never a time in history where California weed wasn't better than East Coast weed. Because
either it was like coming from California somehow, or somebody... Sometimes I would be able to get like some like 90s chronic hydro that somebody was growing that was super sticky.
Yeah.
It'd be like 2 G's for 50 from a delivery service. And that was cool. I was super happy to get it because I was only taking bat hits.
Well, that's another thing too. So I have to always note that when I came, when I obviously smoking weed on the East Coast was a different experience because it was like not legal. So I just had dugouts that I still have my dugout somewhere. It's like, you get your little one hitter.
It came in a little, it popped out with a little like
you could get
wooden,
those.
like a wooden dugout.
Guitar shaped one.
Okay.
You haven't seen that one?
Oh yeah.
I've kept various drugs in there. And like you slide it open and then there's a little like pot for your substance, and then there's a little, you can only get this size dugout or
there was like the
one
mini
hitter though. Yeah, the minis.
The mini. And
I used to get them in
Chinatown.
Size. I used to get them like $20 for $1 or
I would stock up, so I'd have clean ones when I was traveling,
and they'd break. Like they were, but boy, were they fucking great, bro. Those, I love the one. And New York weed must have been fire because you'd be just taking fucking 4 hits out of a one hitter and I would be zooted. So I wasn't smoking joints in New York ever.
No.
Ever. You wouldn't catch me maybe blunts, but like not myself. I don't know how to roll a blunt. So I was always smoking out of glass in New York. So the New York weed must have been good enough for me to get really zooted. Now, nowadays, I don't know. But still coming to California and smoking California weed for the first fucking time, I was literally Homer Simpson, in Weekend at Burnsies. Like I was rainbows coming out of my ears my first trip to California smoking this weed. It is like nothing else you'll ever smoke.
It's true.
I'm sorry. I'm really, really passionate about this.
I forgot how to drive. Thank you, Maurice. Showed me what the chronic was.
You get stuck when you get really
I do. And
everybody does. That's why you'll never catch anybody too stoned and driving.
I didn't.
You can.
I went to leave and then I came back and I had to knock on his window. I was like, dude. He's like, are you okay? I'm like, yeah. I can't. Can I come back in? I can't drive. He's like, yeah, dude, come back in. You want some water? Chill out. I'm not doing anything. You need to leave in the first place.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Well, he had like the green, and then he broke out like, "This is the chronic," and it was like some really tight.
You get that first smell, like the first smell of West Coast weed. I just had come out here to visit Chris when we first started dating, like a million years ago. Like I don't know, 2011, I think. Jesus Christ. And or 12, 11 or 12. So whatever the weed was then, whatever the the trendy weed was in 2011 or 12. That's when, no, it must have been 2011. That's when I first ever came to California. And
that was like, it
was like,
that was like the height of OGs and Bubbas.
Yeah.
You were like, everything was
so
like OG and Bubba.
Yeah. The weed was like some Bubba something. And it was like, oh my God.
There was like, there was the bubble gums, there was green crack, there was like,
there was
some
a lot of green crack
there was a lot
around.
of jacks, but a lot of OGs, like mad OGs.
It was really, really nice. And, you know, I don't know. I don't know how else to say it. I just don't ever think. I think as good as New York weed will get, New York weed is going to get, and it's already great. I really have enjoyed my New York weed experiences, honestly, truly, madly, deeply. I'm if you work in New York weed or you know people who do traditionally or legally, let us know. Even if it's in one of the 8 billion smoke shops that are on the avenues, we won't blow up your spot. We know what it's like to be cowboys.
Yeah, tell us what's happening.
We want to know.
What are the flavors like? What's the
vibe?
What's happening? Because
how are you growing? Tell us your secrets.
When we all of your deepest, darkest, DM us your deepest and darkest secrets.
Again, do not get me wrong. We saw some people. Sorry, cross your fingers. We saw some people comment, people that we know, saying like, "Oh, it's because New York has like love and like." Passion. And like, let me please just explain to you the passion and love that SoCal has for weed and the Humboldt. Like, there's places that, in every state that aren't weed friendly, but like the California weed industry and market is just, I don't know. I've never been to Washington, Colorado. I always say that because people always are like, well, Denver, but like, I can't speak to them. I have smoked weed from Denver and it's good, but it's still not good.
That was like whatever we smoked from Denver was like very clean and but mids for sure.
Okay, sorry, go ahead.
Okay,
sorry.
There was like some actually like legit farmers commenting on like the price of cannabis, and they're like, we're like top end outdoor growers that we know. And they were commenting that, 200 for an ounce is like outdoor farmers are giving away their crops for like $500 a pound in Humboldt.
Oh yeah.
And then like some other jackass comments, stop doing that. Well, how?
Why are they doing that? To get rid of it?
It's got to go.
Yeah.
I mean, if the market's like bottomed out and there's like no other buyers, or people are just lowballing the fuck out of them, which is like,
I mean, you can get weed on the cheaps.
For sure.
Good weed on the cheaps.
Also, okay, when we went to, while we were in New York, we did support the legal market, but then we had to, desperate times call for desperate measures, and we had to pop into a spot, which... I
forgot we did that.
In the Empire State Building. But,
that was great.
And it was cool, but when I was looking at the flower, like, everything smelled like legit.
Yeah.
And...
Yeah.
We got some pre-rolls at questionable whether they came from or whatever, but they were pre-rolls. We just needed
something to get us through.
A quick fix. But the flower did look and smelled
really good,
legit in the hyphy bags.
But
I don't know. Like, smoking is a real test.
Smoking is a real test, and you also, if it's in those shops, I don't know where it's coming from.
Yes. Yeah.
So if you're going to tell me that East Coast weed is better than West Coast weed, what are you talking about? Like, are you just talking about like what it was and like what it could be, or like what it is now? Either way, I have to disagree. I just have to. And I guess like you'll find a lot of people doing that, but I just feel like not taking away anything that the East Coast has to offer, please. Like, I'm sure they're really hard at work getting, maybe those cowboy shops, those chop shops do have are coming from somebody locally. I couldn't see how, but maybe they are. And it's grown locally and it's good weed. And that is great.
Well, get all of those people legal. Get them all on board.
Get them legal. But for right now, I don't know. I just can't sit here and...
We're just not going to take it. We're just not going to sit here and take it.
Well, I am always rooting for the East Coast. I think East Coast weed people and heads are truly warriors, like in like for a way real. That like
you've suffered long enough.
And California, some may say, even though now there's I shouldn't say this, but I think that I will. Even though there was like, you lived through like the raids and getting through all of that stuff, you still had the option to fight for safe access.
Yes.
So some may say it's even more like gritty to be in New York growing weed, because really, truly all odds are against you. So to produce fire, like, that's like, I feel like the weed that I got maybe, no, I can't even say that. I was going to say the Pizza Pusha might be like, not the one that we went to, but when I just got like an eighth from them, like on the side.
The delivery, pizza
when I got
delivery.
the delivery that I had to go get myself in Brooklyn. It was really good, but the weed did remind me of New York weed. It did. But again, I can't tell. It was like sour diesel and the other one was Chem Dog, I think, but I couldn't tell if it was
like a
from
glue
here or not. Yeah. Like, I don't know. It's just, if you hear anybody say that East Coast weed is better than West Coast weed, they're probably trying to get clicks.
I want examples. I want examples sent to us.
Yeah, sent to us.
Via carrier pigeon. Anyway, we really need...
I'm a self-made millionaire.
Oh, it's a remix of Hit 'Em Up. I'm sorry, I just wanted to hear what this sounded like. What were you going to say?
No, I was treading into dangerous territory.
What was it? Tell me.
Of, sending us samples.
Oh, yeah, no, don't do that.
Yeah, don't send us anything. But we would love to try all of New York's finest at some point.
We would. And we were rooting for you, East Coast. This is a nice little remix of Hit 'Em Up.
Hit 'Em Up.
Not the aggressive thing that I was looking for. But please, just know that West Coast weed will likely win. I'm sorry. Don't be mad at me, East Coast. You're my one and only. But I don't see that changing anytime
Yeah,
soon.
the West Coast, you got the greens. You got the greens.
I just don't see it changing.
The kings and queens of cannabis are on the West Coast. Talk to me in 10 years, New York.
And even then, I don't know. I just feel like California weed is something very, very different. It's just different. I'm sorry. I'm not talking culture. I'm not talking fucking cred. I'm talking just quality per whatever. Like, I don't know what measurement I'm using. I just feel like even your lower tier of weed, what you would consider mids out here, is better than some of the stuff I've gotten on the East Coast recently. Sorry.
It's true.
I'm sorry.
It's true.
Sorry. We're going to take a break. We're going to come back. We're going to talk more shit on New Jersey. We'll be right back.